All right, welcome to The Explainer. The president's latest State of the Union was, well, it was packed with some really bold promises and even bolder claims. So, let's just get right to it, shall we? We're going to separate the rhetoric from the reality.
So, the speech kicks off with this huge, sweeping statement that the entire nation is in a golden age. You know, it's a classic opening move in politics, right? You start with this big, optimistic vision to set the tone for everything else.
And right away, you have to ask yourself, does it? I mean, does that statement really hold up when you start to look at the details? Does the data actually reflect a golden age for everybody? Okay, let's really dive into this.
So, first up, let's tackle the economy. This is where some of the biggest and honestly most specific claims of the whole night were made. So, the first big one on the economy was this claim that it's roaring like never before. I mean, that language, it really paints a picture of just unstoppable, record-breaking growth. But the real question is, does the data actually back that up?
Well, when you actually look at the numbers, the picture gets a little more complicated. Turns out, GDP growth actually slowed down a bit in 2025, and unemployment even ticked up slightly. Now, look, the economy isn't in a recession or anything, but calling it roaring like never before, yeah, that seems like a bit of an overstatement.
Okay, next up, a truly massive number. We're talking about the president claiming to have brought in $18 trillion in foreign investment in just 1 year. A number that huge, I mean, it's designed to make you sit up and pay attention.
But, you know, this is where the details really start to matter. When independent analysts dug into it, they found the real figure is closer to maybe 9 or 10 trillion. And get this, a huge chunk of that isn't even new money. It's stuff like old promises or investments that haven't even been realized yet.
Then the speech switched gears to something that's on pretty much everyone's mind, inflation. And the claim here was, well, it was totally unequivocal. He said prices are plummeting downward. That paints a picture of your grocery bills and gas prices just, falling off a cliff.
Now, this is a classic way things can get confusing. The word plummeting makes you think prices are actively dropping, right? But in reality, prices are still going up. They're just not going up as fast as they used to. Think of it like this. You're in a car that's still moving forward. You just took your foot off the accelerator a bit. You're slowing your acceleration, but you haven't actually hit the brakes and gone into reverse. So, we went from these big, broad statements about the economy to something super specific that hits all of us in the wallet, the price of gas. The claim was that gasoline was below $2.36 a gallon, nationwide. But the reality at the pump told a very different story. The actual national average was way closer to $3 a gallon. Sure, maybe you could find it cheaper in some specific spots, but that big, nationwide claim? It just doesn't hold up to the facts. Okay, so it looks like that economic golden age comes with a few asterisks. So what's next? The speech shifted gears again, moving from your wallet to national security, with some more major claims about the border and about foreign wars.
When it came to border security, the claim made was maybe the most absolute one of the entire night. The statement was zero illegal entry. Not a reduction, not a decrease, but a complete and total stop.
Now, to be fair, the official data does show a pretty significant drop in crossings, and that is a real development worth noting. But here's the thing. It's a drop. It is not a complete stop. The number is not zero. And that's what makes the claim, well, factually incorrect.
The speech also touted a huge foreign policy win, declaring that the administration had ended 8 wars. That suggests, this massive shift toward global peace and pulling back from conflicts all over the world.
However, when you talk to foreign policy experts, they point out that this claim is really, really complicated. A lot of the conflicts on that list, they weren't what you'd call full-scale wars. Some are actually still simmering. And in a lot of these cases, the credit for things cooling down is shared with a bunch of other countries.
All right, then we pivoted right back to domestic issues and stuff that affects your household budget. This time it was about healthcare, with another massive claim, that Americans will now pay the lowest drug prices anywhere in the world.
I mean, look, if that were true, it would be a total game changer, right? But the international health data is pretty clear on this. While yeah, the prices for some specific drugs have come down, the US as a whole, we still don't have the lowest prices in the world. Not by a long shot.
And finally, the speech moved to what might be one of the most sensitive, most contentious topics in American politics right now,
the integrity of our elections.
The president brought up claims of rampant cheating in the whole electoral process, and then used that as the reason to push for new, more restrictive voting laws.
So, on this one, the consensus is just overwhelming. We're talking independent fact-checkers, election officials from both parties, and tons of court rulings. And they all say the same thing. Sure, small, isolated cases of fraud do happen, but there is simply no evidence of rampant cheating on any kind of scale that could actually change the outcome of an election.
So, after looking at the economy, national security, and election integrity, what's the final takeaway here? What's the big picture we should be walking away with after hearing this speech?
Well, our breakdown shows a pretty clear pattern, doesn't it? There are some genuine positive trends that you can point to. That's real. But a lot of the night's biggest headline-grabbing claims were either major exaggerations or just weren't backed up by the data. In the end, it really felt like a speech that valued powerful, punchy rhetoric over verifiable reality.
And all of this leaves us with one last, really important question to chew on. In a political world where even basic, verifiable facts are up for debate, where they're treated like they're just matters of opinion, how are we supposed to find the common ground we need to actually move forward together? And that really is the biggest challenge this whole speech leaves us with.
The hour descends.